My wife and I have always given to charitable organizations, the YMCA, the church, etc., other worthwhile organizations, and I was having some thoughts and some feelings that there was something else we were supposed to be doing. I mentioned it to my wife, and her answer was, well, pray on it, and pray on it I did.
911, what's the nature of your emergency?
I want to begin on this Tuesday morning with that tragic end to a long family outing along the Red River in Louisiana.
7 teenagers waded out into what they thought was shallow water.
Was one initial individual who was in trouble, was going underwater.
They had one life jacket here, and as you can imagine, everybody started yelling for help. Nobody could swim.
And the family said it was just like watching a slow-motion nightmare. 5 boys and 1 girl disappeared in the water.
I was riding down the road, heard this horrible story on the radio about these 6 youth in Shreveport, Louisiana, drowning in the Red River, and it was simply because one child fell in that couldn't swim. All the others went in after them, they couldn't swim, and as a result, 6 of them drowned. I thought to myself, how awful is it that there's going to be anybody around that does not know how to swim? And as I started to look into it a little bit more, one of the biggest reasons is not having access or having the money for lessons, access to swimming facilities, or having the money to pay for lessons.
When Barry first came to camp, he was accompanied by one of the YMCA staff. He was on a tour of Camp High Hopes, and so I met him then, and I brought him around, showed him camp, talked about what we did at Camp High Hopes. And then, that was just kind of his first introduction to our work within the community.
What particular caught my attention was the swimming program he told me about. I guess my prayers were answered. I had this idea, and it just literally popped in my head to say, you're supposed to start a program to teach underprivileged children and adults how to swim for free.
He came back and said, I know exactly what I want to do. I want everyone to know how to swim. Now let's figure out how we can make that happen.
So, how do we make that happen? That's where these 3 wonderful gentlemen come in. Please meet Barry Bowling, John Mills, and Dexter Hebert. So Dexter, tell me how this plan started.
Well, at the time I was a community outreach director overseeing programs in downtown and Southeast Raleigh. We had a program model to teach swim lessons to underserved children in our camps. I talked with John and heard that someone wanted to enhance our swim lessons at camp.
So John, what happened next?
Well, Dexter and I set up a meeting with Barry. Well, let me give you a little bit of background. We already had a focus on teaching low-income children how to swim at our camp. We also provide financial aid to those who need it for swim lessons. Well, we met Barry for lunch, and we came in with a proposal that was actually geared towards teaching more kids at camp how to swim. Barry listened, and then he said, that's not really what I'm thinking. And we realized Barry was talking about a unique aquatic safety program for all people in our community, not just kids. Barry pushed our boundaries, but we had a few obstacles. We didn't have a real connection to the whole community. Now, we knew the kids and families who we were serving through camp, but we didn't know or have connections with the residents and the neighborhoods that we serve. We needed to promote the program in a way and to find a way to get everyone, regardless of age, to the pool. And we had to get funding. We estimated we needed about $50,000 for a 3-year pilot program.
So let's start with that last thing, funding. That's when you turn to Barry.
That's right, Steve. I told them I was committed to making this happen, and no matter what, let's move forward. I'll find the money. I called 3 friends who I knew shared a love of water, and when I told them what we were planning, they immediately signed up, and we were on our way.
So Dexter, so now you had the money and a basic plan for moving forward, but what was the next thing you did?
That's when we started working on a collective plan. We knew we had to target our community. We had to determine which families we wanted to serve.
Now, our YMCA offers lessons to thousands of kids in the region through traditional swim classes. Most of our participants can afford to pay for those classes, but there are many communities around Raleigh that lack the opportunity to learn how to swim.
And we wanted to provide opportunity for families who live in low-income areas who couldn't afford to pay for swim lessons. But we knew the first step was getting participants in the pool and more comfortable in the water.
Yeah, at the YMCA, we think of kids when we think of swim lessons. We realized quickly that adults had the real problem with the water. So this program needed to be for kids and adults.
So, adults and children, less affluent, people of color, and definitely terrified of the water. So what was the next part of the plan?
Well, luckily, our YMCA has a pool in downtown Raleigh, so we had a location. Our next step was developing a program and a curriculum. So Dexter and I worked with our aquatics department to develop a lesson plan, and we decided that we needed a 4-night session with 1 hour of instruction each night.
Yeah, so we began working through the details of what safety skills that we would teach to the kids each night. We knew many of our participants were scared of the water. Personalized attention was going to be critical and key.
And we realized that we did not need to teach swim strokes. We needed to teach water survival skills. We wanted participants to get comfortable just being around the water.
Then you needed volunteers and instructors, right?
We already had instructors who were highly skilled in the water. There were also volunteers who wanted to be involved, but they needed to be coached on how to teach the curriculum. That unique scenario enabled us to have more volunteers in the water to teach our kids how to swim and families.
So now that you had a plan, you needed to get the word out to the community, get people to come to the pool. So let's see what happened next.
Well, the way that we got the word out is we already have community partners. So we are partnered with churches. We're partnered with the public school system. We put up signs in the community. We passed out flyers. It was truly a grassroots effort.
The very first pilot program was 2 neighborhoods. They are both government housing communities. That program took off very well. We had a lot of people that came. We learned a lot.
So I learned how to swim at 33, and my daughter, she was 6 last year, and she's definitely on her way to being an excellent swimmer. She's aware of swimmer safety. She's ready to jump in the 10 feet at any moment.
I wanted my kids to know how to swim when they were young, and so they could become comfortable with the water, and I wouldn't have to worry as much as a parent because I didn't know how to swim and didn't feel comfortable in the water.
Well, when we started, we recognized that we weren't teaching swimming lessons, so it was more of a drown-proofing, teaching someone how to put their face in the water and being able to blow bubbles.
I was scared to death because for the first class, I had to swim all the way down to 10 feet, and I've never done that before. And I was scared to death. I didn't want to do it, but when we got down there, it was pretty comfortable because the staff is really nice and they help you along the way.
I've been volunteering with the Swim for Life program for about 4 years since the beginning. It's something that I enjoy doing. I've swam for all my life, and I feel it's important to give back to the community, and this is a way that I can do that.
The thing that I overcame in this class was my fear of being in the deep end. Right before the class ended, I actually jumped into the deep end and was able to bring myself back up. So I'm very excited about that.
We want to go on vacation and be able to be secure on them being able to swim and be confident on what they're doing in the water.
I love jumping in the water.
This is just super important for people that haven't had the opportunity to grow up with pools.
The Y is in a unique position because we have pools. So we felt like that opening the access to our pools to non-members, to community members who needed access and actually needed help overcoming their fear, was something that we could do.
But what was most humbling is to see the impact it actually makes on people. I've seen grown people cry getting out of the water. Either it's because their kid's learning, their grandchild's learning, or they're learning.
I see adults that tremble with fear on day 1, are afraid to even put their foot in the water, and on day 4, they actually are jumping in to like the deep end and swimming over to the side.
The YMCA Swim for Life program, it helped me gain confidence in myself. My very first time in the program, I was 9 years old, and now I'm 15, so like, it's been like a big part of actually my life.
I'm so thankful to the Y for supporting the program, for adopting it as quickly as they did. Again, putting the resources behind it. It was something that was obvious to me from the very beginning. It's something they believed in, and it was about their mission. This is something they wanted to incorporate, and they did a great job.
Thank you, YMCA.
Thank you, Barry.
From the bottom of my heart, thank you, Barry.
Thank